Good morning. It's Football Talk with Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike. Here you go.
Yeah.
Good morning. It's Football Talk with Smoking Jeremy B again. How about that? No, I'm filling in for Russell Wayne today. I am Main Event Mike, our compadre. Grammy nominated. Main Event Mike. There we go. How you doing, Maine?
Good morning, Jeremy. How are you?
Good. Oh boy, you got that little Russell Wayne little robotic
Yeah, hear me?
going on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just you got a little lag. It's giving you that.
Oh, got a little lag. How about now? Better?
No, it actually got worse. Hey, King SJ comes in, says, "Good morning, guys. Long time no see." Haha.
You go ahead and you run with it. I'll get it done.
Yep. I got it going on. Main event's lagging a bit. He had a little bit of the broken audio there. That's okay. We always figure it out. Just a little morning snafu, a little technical difficulties. Ricky Sakat comes in and says, "Let's F and go. Villain Squad, stand up." Jordan Mijo's in saying, "Morning, one pride." King SJ comes in, says, "Morning, guys. JB, long time no see." And Ricky agreed with me that you were lagging just a bit.
How about now? Am I better?
That's absolutely fantastic.
All right. It's Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Only Russell Wayne isn't here. He had a hair appointment today. So, yeah, this will be the last Football Talk with Russell Wayne at 11 a.m. Monday morning. We turn it over to Jeremy B for Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B. So I'm glad to be on here with you. Glad you're on here too, Jeremy. Let's get it going, baby.
And don't forget, we're going live into the Detroit Lions news, the Lions Villain Squad. We're going into the Motor City Kneecap Biters. I added in Detroit Lions on the Prowl because I can. These are all great networks, all a great source of Lions fans to network with. And I've been proud to talk with on most time. Jeremy B equals a GOAT. Ricky Sakat became my Patreon today. He donated to my show, Main Event.
So good.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. Thank you so much. It is way appreciated. Any donation I get that goes towards streaming costs, production costs, equipment costs. It's never cheap to do this stuff. But we do it for our love of this team and the love to talk sports. And I know Main Event and Russell did it because they were musicians and they loved the Lions and they just decided to start doing a podcast.
Yep. Yeah, we don't make any money off of this. Just do it. We love the viewers. The little community we've built is just amazing.
I had somebody calling me out. What do you actually expect management to listen to you? Is that what you want from this? No. The way that people say that, it boggles my mind that they take us all so seriously. And Ricky Sakat says, "No problem. So worth the donation. I love your insight, knowledge, love everything about his podcast." Hey, I'm very happy to hear that. That means I'm doing things in the right direction. If you get one fan that treats you that way, that's better than everybody else who usually starts a podcast about any sports team. They usually never last more than a year. And that's not because of all the. I'm just saying because they give up. They don't see the future vision of how to grow. Main Event and Russell, they've got a great thing going here, and I'm proud to be a part of their network. And does it hurt that I'm an editorialist that's published on an online publication? Probably not. It probably helps me because my publisher allows me to post the link to my YouTube channel at the end of every article. If that isn't a big boon to a podcaster, I don't know what is. And your talks the other day about the third quarter, I actually just finished an article and it published today about the third quarter woes throughout the entire season. And I said how this is something we have to address in 2024 when we're playing with just looking at who we're playing home and away, a better strength of schedule. It's something we got to fix. The third quarter cannot be like that again. Not when you're playing a better class of opponents. Do you agree with that take, Main Event?
Absolutely. When you look at it, we finished 20th in scoring in the third quarter, but in the top 5 in the other 3. That's definitely a deficiency with this team that needs to be addressed. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Ben Johnson's lack of experience as a play caller, learning how to make adjustments at halftime, learning how to counterpunch what the other coach is making adjustments at halftime. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly mystifying, and that kind of thing starts to creep into the heads of the players too, and it becomes a stigma over the whole organization and the fan base as well, that we've got to cure these third quarter woes coming up in the upcoming year.
And the defensive part was even worse. We were middle of the road everywhere defensively in every other quarter, which is all we said we needed in 2022 to win 10 or more games. That was all we needed, was to be a middle of the road defense all year, right?
Yep.
We were for three quarters. We were 32nd. All 31 teams were all better than us in defensive scoring against in the third quarter.
Wow.
And when you're talking about teams like the Panthers, the Commanders, the Giants, the Bears, they were better all season, not just one game.
You know what's interesting too, Jeremy? The games that we lost, a couple of the games that we lost, we were good in the third quarter. It was that first quarter on Thanksgiving against the Packers where they swarmed us and beat us 20-6. The rest of the way, we would have won the game 16-9, and we were good in the third quarter. Our defense held up, but we lost the game. So with an elite offense, and that's the part that I touched on, and it's interesting that you touch on the defensive part of it, how we rank 20th in third quarter scoring, but then we're dead last on defense in the third quarter. Complementary football was our problem last year. In 2022, it was our problem with complementary football. We're able to get that together in 2023, but the third quarter was our Achilles heel in that area. The defense letting us down and the offense letting us down in one quarter of nearly every game.
Right. And the disparity, we were top 5 on an average for the other 3 quarters and 20th in the third, right? We were 17th in the league, dropped 15 spots. What is that?
Improvement.
No, dropped 15 spots from 17, 32nd.
Yeah.
They dropped equally bad on both sides of the ball. It was complementary football for 3 quarters, and then they fought each other for a quarter. And what I saw, and I don't know, I saw a Jim Caldwell-esque third quarter every game except for a few. And what I'm saying is, if something's working, don't change it at halftime until they adjust to it. That is where I think we went off the rails. We would build a lead, get up there, get going, and then not do what was working in the second half to start. And then go back to it in the fourth quarter, and we were able to come back and win a few of those games. The Bears.
That's a great example. That game had a third quarter collapse. We had to score, 17 points in 9 minutes or something at the end to win that game. So that's a great example. That was at home. That one really hurt.
Right. If we'd have lost that game, the same old Lions fan base would have been out even quicker than they were after the Thanksgiving Day loss.
Yeah. It was the minute Justin Fields did the little salsa dance, that's where it all went down for him.
Oh, yeah. As soon as he started celebrating like that. And it's the same. I'm going to bring up someone else in that NFC Championship game. He should not have been waving goodbye going into the locker room. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson fueled the fans, and the fans fueled the 49ers. If you look, the luckiest play is what started it all for him. That bounce off of Vildor's mask that went right to Ayuk for the 51-yard completion, which was their first truly explosive play of the game, is what swung the momentum. Up until that time, defensively, we were holding them in check. Offensively, we were doing good, but we weren't doing great. We had a 3-and-out. Oh, well. But that play swung all the momentum.
Yep. And we had their crowd completely shut up. We had them stifled. Up by 3 scores. They were quiet, and that got them back in the game. And, boy, what a gut-wrenching loss. To go to the Super Bowl, no less.
And I love Steve is real. He comes in and says a lot of good things. And Henry Gay says, I feel like I've been missing an important part of my day when I miss the show. I love watching you all. And he talked earlier about how he missed the last 2 days. And we're happy to see you back too. And Paul Jones called it 7 minutes in hell. And yes, Frank Ragnow is returning, everybody. I thought that was the best news for Lions fans coming out of the night. I think the funniest news was the Chicago Bears fans claiming that Julius Peppers is a Hall of Fame Bear. But Frank Ragnow returning. Say what you want. He was off the field for 6 games. We lost 5 of them. He was off the field. That's the other thing we got to get to. Last night was the NFL Honor Show. Mike, I want you to give your takes, what you think about the whole thing, top to bottom.
Oh, man, so many questions. I'm not understanding why the Cleveland Browns got so much love. I mean, DeMeco Ryans was my vote for Coach of the Year because those kinds of awards are based on expectations. It's why Brian Daboll won it last year. The Giants were expected to be dog water, right? Instead, they make the playoffs, win a playoff game, and he wins Coach of the Year. Even though Dan Campbell went 8-2 down the stretch and brought our team from the abyss, I think Campbell was more of a shoe-in to win it last year. But they say, oh, it's based on expectations. Well, this year the Lions were expected to win the division, and they did. So I'm okay with Dan Campbell not winning it this year. But DeMeco Ryans for the Houston Texans took a 2-14 team, won the division, right? Won a playoff game, and they absolutely destroyed expectations with a thin roster, young players. He deserved Coach of the Year. I'm okay, I guess, with Brian Stefanski because he did go through 4 quarterbacks to get to an 11-5 record, but he didn't win the division. And he had a stellar defense, the best defense in the league, an outstanding offensive line. It should be noted they also lost their number 1 running back in Nick Chubb, but they had a loaded running back room as well. So DeMeco Ryans robbed of the Coach of the Year. That's my first take. You want to comment on that before I move on?
Yeah, I absolutely think that Kevin Stefanski, because of finding Joe Flacco on the couch to play the last 6 games of the season for him, and don't get me wrong, I actually kind of agree. It had to be either Joe Flacco or Baker Mayfield for comeback player.
Are you switching topics?
No. I'm going to finish up. But DeMeco Ryans got robbed. Dan Campbell should have been second because he met expectations. Where he exceeded them was outside the season. By winning a second playoff game is where he exceeded the expectations for the Lions.
Yeah, I agree with that. Dan Campbell coming in third in the voting. I'm okay with that, really. But I really feel like DeMeco Ryans got robbed.
Yep.
Sounds like you think the same. You would have voted for DeMeco as well then.
Yeah, I had DeMeco Ryans winning because I like everybody else prior to the season didn't see this coming. And boy, Panthers fans have got to be going nuts because I know half of them wanted CJ Stroud, and what CJ Stroud did with the Texans. He had an historic season, something we hadn't seen since before the days of Andrew Luck.
Yeah. CJ Stroud winning Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. No one had a problem with that. He was almost a unanimous vote for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Sam Laporta, the tight end for the Lions, comes in third. Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe, comes in fourth. Right. So I'm okay with that. I would have definitely voted for CJ Stroud. That's one that I think they got right.
Yep. I think it was either, if it wasn't going to be CJ Stroud, it was going to be the guy that was in second by a mile, Puka Nacua.
For sure. Puka Nacua coming in second. I have no problem with that. What a great rookie season he had. For sure. I'm down with that pick as well. A couple of them that do stick in my craw, though, and I don't know if we're going to hit on all of them or not, but Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, for, again, another Cleveland Brown. They went 11-5 and one and done in the playoffs. Look, they underachieved, okay? Myles Garrett put his stats up against TJ Watt, who came in second in the voting. It's not even close. TJ Watt was robbed, and I can't understand how that happened when you look at the stats, when you look at what happened. Both teams made the playoffs. Both teams won and done in the playoffs. How can you look at the stats when the team stats and the team situations and the expectations are roughly the same? And by the way, the Browns were expected to be around 10, 11 wins.
Yes.
So they didn't exceed expectations on any of this, regardless of their quarterback situation. How does Myles Garrett beat out TJ Watt in this award? It baffles me.
Right. I agree with you. And you know who else? Micah Parsons, who had better stats than both of them, took third. You can say TJ Watt deserved it, but he missed that last. They played him week 18. He got hurt in the first quarter. I understand why he might have slipped in some voters' minds, but the fact that they jumped him over Micah Parsons as well, who was expected to have a great year, expected to be on a playoff team, and those of us that are realistic and not a Cowboys fan expected a one and done. I'm just saying.
TJ Watt had 19 sacks.
I mean, that's the one stat that TJ Watt was above everybody on, and I agree with that.
Yeah, but if you look at all of the stats up against Myles Garrett, there's a meme floating around there on the internet that shows their season stats side by side: forced fumbles, interceptions, QB pressure, every single metric, he's higher. So if you're a voter for Defensive Player of the Year, how do you possibly not give it to this guy instead of this guy? I just don't understand it. I probably never will.
And I don't understand over either one is what I'm getting at. I threw Micah Parsons in there because I think Micah Parsons should have been at least second. I think TJ Watt should have won it. And the guy that didn't even get in the top 5 that's amazing, that had TJ Watt type of numbers, and everybody's glossing over it, was Bosa from the 49ers.
Yeah, for sure. The other honor award that really gets me, and this is the big one for me, Joe Flacco winning Comeback Player of the Year. Are you kidding me? What did he come back from? The couch?
Yes.
Damar Hamlin died. He died on the field. I don't care if you came back from a bad injury or if you were cut from your other team and you made a resurgent comeback like Baker Mayfield. Did you die? Did you actually cease to breathe on the field and you come back the next year? The day he stepped on the field, Damar Hamlin should have won Comeback Player of the Year. And if you're not going to give it to Damar Hamlin because his numbers weren't great, okay, his numbers were not great. But Baker Mayfield thrown onto the trash heap, and he not only proved he's a viable starter in this league, he proved he's an actual commodity. And he takes Tampa, wins the division. They get hot at the end of the year. They win a playoff game. They put up a great fight in Detroit. The guy's a gamer. He won that whole locker room over. He won the coaching staff over, all the Tampa fans and the national media as well. They're all eating crow for Baker Mayfield. And they turn around and give it to Joe Flacco, who won't even be playing next year. Mark my words. He'll be back on the couch. How do you give the comeback player award to a guy who's only played 7 games and is going to be back on the couch next year? Ridiculous. That was the part last night that blew my mind. I didn't even know Flacco was a finalist for this award. Certainly didn't deserve it. What's your take on comeback player of the year?
The only reason why Flacco got it, and I'm going to, because when he was signed to that roster, he was signed to be the backup. The starter that week he was signed played so bad. He had 1 week of prep time to learn a playbook, learn his team, go out there. He never threw for less than 300 yards in the 6 games he started. He went for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks first game. Okay, first game jitters. We get it. That's going to happen. They lost that game. But then they were at that point where they were on the cusp of missing the playoffs, remember? He had that 4-game run where he threw for over 400 yards and over 3 touchdowns every game. And that's what got him it. It had nothing to do with the fact he came off the couch. It had to do with how he made that team excel and get to that point into the playoffs with his play. Because the defense was good enough to win the whole time.
Okay. Well, if it was Myles Garrett and it was Joe Flacco, then why does Stefanski win Coach of the Year?
I didn't agree with. I didn't agree with it. I agree with you. It should have been D'Amico Ryans. And Laura Fox says, I agree completely. And Paul Jones says, Baker had my vote for comeback player of the year. I said immediately for comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco or Baker Mayfield was going to get it over Damar Hamlin, because Damar Hamlin, it's a great story. But the fact that he went from 2 snaps on defense to 44 on special teams and was mediocre at it is why he didn't get comeback player of the year. Comeback player of the year usually goes to anyone who does a major contributing factor to their team. And that was the only take I had on the Damar Hamlin. I wouldn't have been mad if he got it, because he did die on the field. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they were the top 3.
Okay, so to be comeback player of the year, you got to die on the field and have great numbers. Just dying on the field just isn't enough, I guess.
It's not.
Joe Flacco scratching his nuts watching Netflix, gets up, has a crappy game, and then has 5 or 6 really good games. That's enough? That's enough to overcome what Baker did? It's a travesty is what it is.
I put Baker Mayfield up there with him. I just had both of them over Damar, is what I said, because of the situations they came out and how they contributed. That was it.
Another category last night was Defensive Rookie of the Year, which went to Will Anderson of the Houston Texans. No doubt in my mind, Kyle Hamilton should have won this award. Kyle Hamilton made All-Pro. Oh, he's not a rookie. He's a second-year player. He's second-year player. My bad.
Third year.
But there were several rookies on defense that outperformed Will Anderson, I thought. It's all part of the story. When you look at his numbers, they're good, but they're not great. They weren't as good as Aiden Hutchinson's numbers last year, and he didn't win it.
Right. Aiden Hutchinson actually had numbers that rivaled Sauce Gardner to me for his position versus position. The only thing Sauce Gardner did was he didn't allow a touchdown his first year, and we saw that come crashing back down to earth this year. And the comeback player is largely performance-based. It says it in the description of the award.
Right.
So yes.
You don't think Baker Mayfield outperformed Joe Flacco in that respect?
I didn't say that at all. I said I had them as 1 and 2, like a 1A, 1B, just because of the situation.
Yeah, that's a good call by Jay, though. Thanks for that comment.
Yep. But I think Baker should have had the edge because he played all year. Mm-hmm. That's my take on it.
And you know, there is a common thread here between our takes, Jeremy. We're not upset at all about all these Lions not winning. I think because it was great for them to be nominated as rookies, but these other rookies that were ahead of them in the voting deserved it. And I don't think you're seeing any sour grapes from Lions fans about Laporta not winning Offensive Rookie of the Year when you look at what C.J. Stroud did. So really happy for those Lions rookies to be in the conversation. They all did receive some votes. It's amazing. It doesn't take anything away from the historic draft that we had in 2023. And, even though the NFL doesn't give out an Executive of the Year award, the Sporting News does, and the Pro Football Writers of America do. And Brad Holmes won both of those awards. And what it made me think of was the Dream Team, how they left Isaiah and Joe off the Dream Team, but they did give us Chuck Daly as the coach. So Brad Holmes wins Executive of the Year for two different outlets. Lions get shut out at the honors, but I don't think Lions fans are feeling butthurt about it today at all.
And my moment of the night, the best moment I remember watching, was Cam Hayward when he accepted the Walter Payton Man of the Year. His speech was very riveting. I paid attention to the whole thing. Very heartfelt. Yeah, more tears came out. It was kind of like when what's his name from the Rams the year they won the Super Bowl? Eric Whitworth, right? That his name?
Andrew.
Andrew Whitworth. When he talked about Derek Barnes being a part of the Boys and Girls Club and meeting him as a kid when he first got into the NFL. How crazy is that he would remember Derek Barnes as a kid, as a 10, 11-year-old kid back then, and then giving him kudos for having a decent rookie year, because as a fourth round pick, there's no expectations on you. If you're fourth round or later, there's no expectations. You're usually a rank and file or bench player at that point. So when that happens, and somebody that is possibly going to be a Hall of Fame offensive lineman when all's said and done, when his 5 years are up, somewhere within 5 to 10 years, he'll make it.